Since the pandemic and my awakening to the fact that social justice had nothing to do with ending racism, but is about using racism to push an agenda, I've debated whether or not systemic racism still exists. Because, what don't we have access to these days, right? But it's deeper than that. Systemic racism does indeed exist. However, it is far more psychological and subtle than in previous generations. Unfortunately, many of my brothers and sisters think that the racists are simply the ones in the red hats with the southern accents. You see, systemic racism is a government who undereducates children living in predominantly black neighborhoods through the public school system, leading them to be either economic slaves or slaves in the prison system, and punishing their parents for sending them to a public school in a better neighborhood. Systemic racism is a government subsidizing an abortion industry that targets black women. Systemic racism is luring minorities, whether they be African American or unsuspecting non-Americans, crossing the southern border with free government programs in exchange for votes and political loyalty, exploiting their ignorance to the economic system and the understanding that there's no such thing as free, and that these free programs raise the cost of living and create an economic trap. Systemic racism is carried out by a faction within the government who collaborates with the entertainment industry to instill criminality, degeneracy, perversion, racial bitterness, and reinforce the identity of oppression to lead Black Americans to destroy themselves. Systemic racism is telling you that the bar and the standard has to be lowered for you because of your skin color. We need diversity and inclusion programs, right? And if the institutional savior doesn't make a way for you, then there is no way for you. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Now, how is it that so many of God's chosen people are blind to what systemic racism truly is?